Today we're gonna find out which one are the best Bluetooth earbuds for you. There were a lot of contenders for this video, but I picked the 10 most popular earbuds right now, which honestly cost me a pretty penny, but since the boss is paying for it, well, no big deal. Well, that's kind of a lie. He actually bought 9 out of 10 since these ones from nothing were sent to me by the brand. But don't worry, I will be fair. Throughout the video, I'm gonna give you my quick opinion about each pair of headphones, but feel free to jump to the ones that you're most curious about or straight to the conclusions where I'm gonna tell you the ones that I prefer, but also compare them side by side with some tests that you'll probably like. Also, if you're just looking for a mic test, take a look at this other video that I published some months ago. This has been one of the most difficult videos I've done, and I really hope you enjoy it. The AirPods Pro 2 are those that I recommend if you have an iPhone, because not only do you get all these built-in features, you can even use them as hearing assistant devices, and they're also compatible with Find My. If you don't have an iPhone, just forget it. They're not worth it, but if you do, they're the best you can get. The charging case is compact and easy to carry, and the earbuds are designed to fit securely. The silicone tips really help with noise isolation, and let me just say that the noise cancellation, it's great, as well as the transparency mode, which it's super clear. Wireless charging is included, you can control volume with gestures and use them for your workouts without a problem, while its battery life is also among the best. Also, listening to music on these is a real treat, especially if you like a neutral sound profile. They are great, but there are two things that I really hate about them because, well, I usually sleep with headphones. First, if I put the right earbud in my left ear, it doesn't fit right and it doesn't play anything. I can fix this by turning off this setting, but I actually like this feature on. Then, when I take them off overnight, I always find them with no battery in the morning. So yeah, they keep using battery even when not in use, and the most interesting part is that from all the headphones that I've tried, these are the only ones with this problem. Other than that, well, they're excellent. I really like them and they're much better than the AirPods 4. These are basically the elite version of the Pros, with a slightly smaller case and a more traditional format without the silicone tips. They are cheaper, yeah, but also worse in pretty much every way. For example, you can't control the volume like on the Pros. Noise cancellation, it's clearly worse in every test. Battery life is also worse, even without ANC on, and I actually think the Pros are more comfortable too. The only moment where these beat the Pros is with the mic quality. Right now, you're hearing me with the microphone of the AirPods Pro 2. And right now, you're hearing me with the AirPods 4 ANC. It is a small difference, but believe me, it's way better than the Beats Studio. Now you're hearing me on the Beats Studio and probably wishing I would stop using them. The Beats Studio Buds Plus I have are the transparent version, and I really love this design. It's a shame that the controls aren't touch sensitive. Instead, it's a button that puts pressure in your ear when you press it. That said, they're actually quite comfortable to use, even when working out, and their noise cancellation is really solid. Out of the 10 that I tested, they stood out for their battery life, though they're one of the few without wireless charging. As an Apple product, they also work with Find My, and while they're supposedly Android compatible, it's a hit or miss. I would say that the strongest feature of these headphones, besides, the cool design, it's the noise cancellation. It does a much better job than the AirPods 4 when vacuuming, and almost as good as the AirPods Pro 2. But now let's move on to a device that has clearly evolved in its design, but not without a few issues. And yeah, I'm talking about the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro, which went from a bean-shaped design to one that clearly mimics the AirPods Pro. Personally, I do prefer the stick-style design like the AirPods that everyone compared them with, but Samsung has made some decisions here that I'm not totally on board with. If you look at them closely, you will notice that they're not round, they're more rectangular, which makes the gestures control a little bit weird to use, at least for me. Though they now let you adjust the volume directly, and there's an LED indicator for the battery status. Putting them back in the case is also a little bit awkward because now you have to rotate them to make them fit. I mean, it's just not as intuitive or ergonomic compared to others. That said, I have to be fair and say that where it matters, well, they have improved. Now they are dust resistant with IP57 rating instead of just IPX7. Total battery life with the case is much better. Noise cancellation has also received some slight improvements, and their app now lets you control the ANC or transparency intensity, even letting you switch modes when detecting certain sounds. But the biggest jump is in the audio quality. Way more detail and high res compared to the previous version, and the mic performance also seems slightly better in my tests. On a time in a small town surrounded by mountains, there was a house that entered never came back the same. It is said that the famous craftsman of mirrors, Felix Luminor, lived in that house long time ago. Is that enough to justify like the $50 or $70 more? Well, maybe. But what I can really tell you is that if you find the Buds 2 Pro for $100 or less, dude, just get them because they're really good. They are comfortable, have a great sound, and they're just really well-rounded earbuds. But just like what happened with the iPhone and the AirPods, you will get the most of them if you already own a Samsung phone. With that said, now we have one of my favorites, the Pixel Buds 2 Pro. Some earbuds that most people won't even consider because of its high price, but just look at how tiny they are, and they fit really well in your ears thanks to this little wing design. These are probably the most comfortable earbuds that you will ever try, and the size difference between the last generation, I mean, it's massive. You may also think that the smaller size would also come with some compromises, but no. You get gestures control for the volume, 10 hours of battery life without noise cancellation, transparency mode also got a big boost over the older version, and the ANC is actually slightly better than the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. It is true that some features are exclusive for Pixel phones, but most of the settings you see here are also available on other Android phones, like the ability to track them, a personalized EQ, and a multi-point connectivity which works with all your devices, unlike the AirPods which only works within the Apple ecosystem, and the same thing with the Galaxy Buds and Samsung Gear. But just listen to the cute sound they make. I've also heard some reviewers say that the audio is not the best, but honestly, I have no complaints. They don't sound as good as others that I've tried, but you can always tweak the EQ to get a sound profile that you like. The biggest downside for me is the high price, which only really drops when you bundle it with a Pixel phone. Still, if you really like the small form factor, you want a long-last battery, and you use an Android phone, well, these are well balanced and worth a look. Now let's talk about some earbuds that are anything but balanced. I'm talking about the Bose QuietComfort Ultra earbuds, and as you can see here, they're the biggest one in this entire comparison, but they also have the best noise cancellation. These earbuds aren't the most comfortable, the battery life, it's also not good, and the microphone, well, it's probably one of the worst that I've tested, but the noise cancellation, damn. I always reach for them when I'm vacuuming around the house or when I'm flying anywhere else. I mean, believe me, once you use these earbuds, the noise cancellation of everything else looks like mediocre, you know? But the thing is that they have so many cons against it that I can't really recommend it to most people. The battery life, for example, it's just awful. The silicone wings fall off constantly, and lately they don't even auto-connect when I take them out of the case. I have to put them back and then take them out again until they finally connect. Considering they're the most expensive headphones I have right here, you would expect, you know, perfection on everything, and sure, they do have their strengths, like multi-point connection and a solid app with customizable ANC modes, a personalized EQ, a long press function mapping, and other advanced settings that you would expect at this price. I've just used these headphones for so long that I'm just tired of the connectivity issues, of the battery life, of the fit, you know, and for this price, I would rather recommend something like the Sony XM5 instead of these. But still, if you want the best noise cancellation, these are the best. Next, we got the Nothing Ear, with that signature transparent design which you will find on both the case and the earbuds themselves. Sure, the format is nearly identical to the AirPods Pro, but they definitely look more unique and eye-catching. These are the cheapest earbuds on the list, and their strongest point is the audio quality. I would even say that they're my favorite sounding ones here. By default, if you're listening to a bass-heavy music, you know, they really shine, but that's because the bass boost is enabled out of the box, but you can tweak or turn it off completely. There's also a simple EQ for quick changes and a more advanced one for the pros. For this price, they also offer some cool extras like wireless charging, dual device connection, high-res audio support, and an ANC intensity control. Now, the downside is that their ANC, it's one of the weakest. In my test, they only beat the AirPods 4 ANC, which says a lot, and the transparency mode was also the worst. I mean, both modes are usable, and it's much better than not having them, but once you compare them with the other earbuds, you do notice why they're lagging behind. And the same could be said about the mic quality. It's really weak, especially when you compare with the other ones. And for that reason, the earbuds with the best value for money are the Huawei FreeBuds Pro 4. At first glance, they don't really stand out with the design super similar to the AirPods, but trust me, once you try them, you will get why I like them so much. They just work. And just like what happens with the AirPods Pro 2, that they're not the best on anything, these are always near the top. Fit is among the most comfortable I ever try, with vertical swipe controls for volume, and honestly, one of the best picks for sleeping, especially since the battery life is solid too. ANC is better than the Pixel Buds Pro 2, transparency mode is super clear while walking, audio profile is neutral by default, which I personally prefer, but you can always choose different presets or make your own using their app. They're not the cheapest you can get, but I actually prefer them over the Galaxy or the Pixel Buds 2 Pro, which cost about the same. They also support wireless charging, and their mic, it's actually, quite good. You're listening to it right now, and when you have some background noise, the cancellation of it, it's quite good. Also, they're not the cheapest you can find, but I actually prefer them over the Galaxy or the Pixel Buds 2 Pro that cost about the same. Now with the Sony XM5, I have to admit that I was wrong. I mean, partially wrong. You see, when I started using them in 2023, I actually used them with the stock ear tips. And even though the system said that the fit was good and they sounded, great day to day, the ANC wasn't living up to the hype. If you watch my first tests on the airplane or in the car, you will notice that I was a little bit disappointed because, everyone was saying that these were the best and even better than the Bose, but that was not my experience. Some years passed and I had to change the ear tips because they're not silica. They're made of polyurethane foam, which wears out and gets dirty quite fast. So I then picked up some larger comply tips instead. And let me tell you, that was a game changer. In the car, I went from, meh to one of the best results I had, and the same thing happened when I was vacuuming around the house. And look, I know it's not fair to compare these results that are not the stock ones that come with the headphones when I did so with everything else, but I also believe that the ear tips that came with them never really fit my ears. So, in reality, I'm actually testing them in the best possible conditions. And look, even without that, they're excellent overall. They have multi-point connectivity, wireless charging, a secure fit for such a compact design, and a feature-rich app with EQ and a lot of extra settings. Though, the battery life could definitely be better. If you watch all the video through here, I have a gift for you. A hug from Leo. I've tested all of these earbuds for months, some of them for years, but these are the ones that I would recommend on each category. If you have an iPhone or you're just really inside Apple's ecosystem, just go straight for the AirPods Pro 2. The price difference compared to the AirPods 4 ANC is totally worth it. If you want the best noise cancellation, the Bose wins, hands down. Though the Sony XM5s are also great and even better in many other areas. In fact, if you check this comparison table where I scored all of the earbuds, you will see Sony right behind Bose. And in third place, the AirPods Pro 2. Also, if you're wondering what the number in parentheses mean, well, just check my full opinion on the Sonys. And please consider that all of these tests were done in silence, which means that if you add music to some headphones that I gave them 6 out of 10, they're gonna do a pretty good job blocking some external noise. And just like what we saw with the Sonys, if you want to improve the noise cancellation of your earbuds, you can always get some foam tips. If you're looking for the most comfortable ones to wear for hours, the Pixel Buds 2 Pro are my top pick. They're actually great for walking, working out, sleeping, thanks to the small size, and overall, I mean, yeah, they're the most comfortable earbuds I've tested, tied with the Huawei FreeBuds Pro 4. Comfort is always subjective and depends on each person's ears, but yeah, these two are definitely my favorite. If audio quality is your top priority, the Nothing Ear are my recommendation, with a neutral sound profile, slightly boosted in the lows that you can always tweak with the app to get an amazing result. I didn't go too in deep about the sound quality in this guide because I think that most people buy these kind of earbuds for the features rather than, you know, the high quality sound. But if I have to rank them, I would say that in first place are the Nothing Ear, in second the Sony, and in third the AirPods Pro 2. But honestly, I would say that all of them sound really good, with the exception of the Bose. I mean, these doesn't sound too bad, but for $300, I mean, the expectations were really high. And lastly, if you're looking for the best bang for your buck, I would go with the Huawei FreeBuds Pro 4. They're not the best in any category, but I've used them more than any other in the last few months. As a content creator that review a lot of tech, sometimes, you know, you end up using something that it's not precisely the best. And that's exactly what's happening to me with the Huawei FreeBuds Pro 4. It's hard to explain, but they're just there. They work. They have a good battery. They connect really fast to each phone, no matter if it's an Android or an iPhone. They sound good. The noise cancellation, it's great. So yeah, very easy to recommend. I also wanted to rank their battery life, but since I could only test them with the ANC turned off, well, I decided not to, but at least with this table, you can kind of get an idea. And that's it. This is the end of the video. One of the most complicated videos I've ever done, not just because of all the tests and all the time that it took, but also because I'm recording this video in English, which is not, you know, a language that I'm too familiar with, at least not as much as Spanish or Portuguese, but I hope you were able to understand me. It's also true that a lot of the things that I've been saying are very subjective, like the sound quality, the comfort, but at least you're hearing the opinion of a human and not just marketing or a robot. And I think that's useful too. But hey, I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you have any other recommendation, you can always leave it in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.